I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is another PayPal request for Brock, who wanted my thoughts on the 1994 film Interview with the Vampire. Now, this is a film I had seen back in the day, but it was actually interesting to rewatch this again, and I thought it was rather good. Now, it's based on the Anne Rice novel. I know that Anne Rice was really very much against Tom Cruise playing the character he did play, but then when she saw the film, she's like, wow, it was really good. I don't know if she was saying that for BS reasons or if she really meant it, but Tom Cruise is, I thought, one of the better parts of this movie, because he's just a very different role, very unique role. Tom Cruise has never really played a role like this before or since. The setup of the film is Brad Pitt as a vampire. Christian Slater is his reporter. Of course, Christian Slater doesn't believe he's a vampire at first, but eventually does. And Brad Pitt is telling this story to this reporter because he wants his story known. He wants the story known because to tell people about his life. I guess he's like, hey, someone needs to know. Fuck it. It's not like anyone's going to believe it. People just think it's a piece of fiction, but okay, whatever. And he talks about how he was in the late 1700s, he was a suicidal guy, and he longed for death. He even dares a guy to shoot him. One that leads to know, and Tom Cruise bites him. And he pretty much gives him an offer. You still want death? Or have you tasted enough? Turns into a vampire, and then there's definitely a lot of homoeroticism in this movie, which I don't know if that's the way in the novel, because I never read the novel, which I'm sure bothers some people. It doesn't bother me as long as I don't see dick, because I saw enough dick lately, because I reviewed a request called The Beast 1975, which had horse dick, real horse dick in my face, so that was enough for a century. What? Just check out my review of The Beast from 1975. That was requested review like a week or two ago. So, homoeroticism, perfectly fine. Don't bother me none. But I thought it was cool to see these two actors work together. I know Brad Pitt, he had a bad time working on the film because they were working nights. And then he's going, well, Tom has the better role, and I wanted that role. And I can see what he means, but I thought Brad Pitt, I liked him as an actor. I thought he did fine in this movie. But I like Brad Pitt in World War Z. I liked him in Ad Astra. I've liked him in quite a few films. He was the only part I liked in Inglourious Basterds. I don't like Inglourious Basterds, but I liked him in it. And I still thought he got across the idea of yeah, he's living this long life, but he's suffering because he doesn't want to kill, but he'll be forced to kill, and for a good chunk he's just killing animals and rats. And sadly, that's not enough. And this torture of living all these years. I still thought Brad Pitt got enough of that across. And Tom Cruise is definitely having fun. He's definitely have a lot of fun. He's a bit flamboyant is the wrong word, but he's very energetic. He just loves the kill. He loves doing that. Brad Pitt said a line, "The snob in him loved to hunt in society." Or there's a moment where Brad Pitt is trying to fight the urge, and instead of killing this woman, he kills this dog. And then Tom Cruise comes in and kills the woman. Brad Pitt gets pissed at him, and Tom Cruise is laughing. Even while Brad Pitt is moving him around and throwing him around, Tom Cruise laughing. And it's like, that's more like it. That's why I chose you. So I can see why Brad Pitt would say Tom Cruise got the better role. I like Tom Cruise as an actor. I've always liked him as an actor from back in the day, from seeing movies like, I'm trying to think of the first film I saw him in. But I like Top Gun. I reviewed Top Gun. I like Days of Thunder. I have a fucking hat from Days of Thunder. Well, reproduction of it. This is the Tom Cruise's crew, the type of hat they wore of Days of Thunder. But I like a good chunk of the Mission Impossible films. I've liked Edge of Tomorrow. Really enjoyed that. I liked Oblivion. I don't mind War of the Worlds. I reviewed that on the channel. I liked a lot of his movies. Born on the 4th of July is a good dramatic film. He's great in Tropic Thunder. His bit part in that. So I always thought he was a talented actor. And again, it was nice to see him play a very different, unique role. Again, he loves to kill, but he's more funny than scary, but it's not a comedy. Just a very interesting character. And almost a bit too interesting. I'll get to that in a minute, what I mean by that. And you got the contrast with Brad Pitt trying to do the right thing. Like Brad Pitt telling, because you gotta remember this is the late 1700s, so there were slaves, so he's telling his slaves, leave this place, and he burns his place down. And then one thing leads to another, that leads him to Kirsten Dunst, which honestly, I think this is one of her best performances, and this is when she was a kid. And she's a lot better here than in the Spider-Man movies, I'll say that. My opinion. And she's a girl who's infected, part of the Black Plague. Brad Pitt, he's trying to fight his hunger, but I don't know what you want to call it, a sense of addiction, bites her, and then Tom Cruise turns her because in order to keep Brad Pitt, because Brad Pitt's talking about how he wants to leave, he wants to go somewhere, Tom Cruise wants him to stay, so Tom Cruise gives him a daughter where Tom Cruise will teach her how to hunt and be a killer, and Brad Pitt will love, and she loves him. Not in the sick way, but friendly way. And not that kind of friendly. That'd be a different, weirder movie. And granted, it doesn't go into... I'll get to that. It goes through the years. I don't know how much this relates to the novel. I don't know how faithful it is to the novel. People who read the novel, you can tell me if it is or if it's not or if it's horseshit. It's many years later, and Kirsten Dunst get more frustrated because she's older in her head, but she's still in this kid's body. And one thing leads to another, and they try to kill off Tom Cruise's character. I actually forgot that Stan Winston had a hand in some of the effects of the vampires. At least that's what it said in the credits, unless they did it wrong, but it said Stan Winston that handed it. And the vampire effects are fine, but it's nothing too grand or glorious. So if you're expecting vampire effects from Dusk Till Dawn or Fright Night, it's not. Which in a way was kind of a waste of Stan Winston's talent. Where, okay, you got Stan Winston to do vampire work, and it's very basic vampire look, you know, teeth and something with eyes. And probably the better part is when you see the more sickly Tom Cruise. I would say if there's an effects highlight, probably that. And one other one, which I'll get to. But I mean, I miss Stan Winston. Even, you know, doing little stuff in this. He's a great artist, a legend. I mean, he worked on Aliens. He directed Pumpkinhead, which is a good movie, which I thought I reviewed, but I didn't. I need to review that one day. But yeah. What I was trying to say before is, and the zombie type of makeup on Tom Cruise does look nice. They burn him after some other stuff happens, and then Brad Pitt and Kirsten Dunst, believing he's dead, Tom is dead, they travel around Europe trying to find other vampires. I would say this is where the movie gets a little bit less interesting. That's one of my few nitpicks with the film, is that, remember I said Tom Cruise's character is almost too interesting? I do think the film loses something when Tom Cruise is taken out of the picture, because then you don't really see him until the end of the film. And obviously if that's part of the novel, is trying to be faithful, I get it. But when your most interesting part is all of a sudden, let me put it this way, imagine a football game. Now the best player in your game is sidelined for a good chunk of the game now, or the second half of the game. Yeah, that's a better way. That's a better analogy. Imagine it's a football game. It's halftime. The best player's taken out, and then left for a good chunk of the other half of the game. It's like, I get it, but it does lose a bit of something. Now, that's not to mean it sucked. They do meet up with vampires, which is part of this theater troupe, which is kind of interesting. You have Stephen Rea and Antonio Banderas. I forgot Antonio Banderas was in this. And you get a little bit more of the homoeroticism. It was before Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. Here's where Brad Pitt and Antonio, in fact, there's a part where they almost kiss. They're like this far away from kissing. I'm like, just fuck each other away already. Just fuck each other away. Well, yeah, I don't need to see that, but you might as well get a room. Anyway, not that that's a bad thing. But I can't say they were as interesting as Tom Cruise's character. I didn't mind Antonio Banderas. Stephen Rea, he seemed to be a little bit, camping it up. There's parts where he moves and kind of like, I'm like, are you fucking Renfield from the original Dracula? Are you don't go, I was ready for Stephen Rea to do that with some of his movements. But I did like Antonio Banderas and the whole vampire, but they're like a theater troupe, kind of interesting. But I would be lying if I said I lost a little bit of interest in the movie compared to the first half. I do think the first half with Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise was the better part of the flick. And then get more into spoilers, starting now, spoilers. Some of them find out that they had a hand in fucking up Tom Cruise's character. By this point, Kirsten Dunst wants another to take care of her in case something happens with Brad Pitt. So helps create this adult woman to hopefully take care of Kirsten Dunst. But then her and Kirsten Dunst gets put into this well. They get burned. Which, that's not a bad effect. Now that I think about it, that's not a bad effect either. And then Brad Pitt finds them in the ashes and he touches and it descends. And that was a effective moment. And this is when the movie, it was fine at this part, but this is really kicked into back into high gear for me, is when he gets his revenge. Because he gets, I forget what the fuck that weapon is. Is it a scythe? Shit that we see in Children of the Corn and stuff. And he goes to town, fucking up other vampires because he wants his revenge. Antonio Banderas lets him because he knows this is bullshit what happened. And then he burns the place down. He cuts them up, including cutting, I'm guessing this was cut down for MPAA, but you see a bit of it where he cuts Stephen Rea. It's like from here to here. And it's brief, but you do see that top of the body fall off, and it's practical. Again, I have a feeling it was longer and MPA made him cut it down a bit. Could be wrong. But I was like, oh shit. That was cool to see. And then pretty much wanders, leaves Antonio Banderas because he goes, you could have saved Kirsten Dunst and you didn't. So I liked you, but fuck off. He doesn't say that, but that's pretty much the sentiment. So then he wanders around. I think that's a missed opportunity. I don't know, maybe there's nothing in the novel between that time and modern time. But other than meeting Tom Cruise again, who's a bit more sickly, looked a little bit like a zombie, there's not a lot done in that timeline, like from the 70s and 80s and such. Maybe there's a bit more that could have been milked from that. I don't know. Maybe not. The way it ends was interesting. I did like the ending. Because Christian Slater, he hears the story and he wants to be a vampire. And Brad Pitt's like, are you fucking nuts? Like, he doesn't say that, but sentiment. Are you fucking nuts? I told you how depressing and sad it is and you want to be a vampire? And to Christian Slater, like, look at all the years you went, all the stuff you've seen. And Brad Pitt threatens him and then leaves. And then Christian Slater's like, oh, look at the story I got. And then Tom Cruise bites him. And then pretty much goes the same that he did to Brad Pitt at the beginning. I'm going to give you an offer that you can't refuse. So you get the idea that Christian Slater's going to be a vampire. For Interview with the Vampire 2, Electric Boogaloo. I'd like the song choice of Rolling Stones. Pleased to meet you. Don't you know my name? I'll say here, this is better here than fucking Fallen with Denzel, that song choice, and a better movie. But yeah, watching it again, I rather liked it. I thought Neil Jordan did a competent job directing this. It was a good-looking film. I thought the way the time period was made to look. There's nothing... I mean, I'm not a historical buff, but it seemed like they took their time putting details on the way the clothes and the sets and locations looked. Tom Cruise was very entertaining. He was energetic and just a very different role. I thought Brad Pitt did fine. I know he had a bad time working on this film, but I don't think Brad Pitt phoned it in or anything. Kirsten Dunst was talented. Child actress. Not so much as an adult. At least in the Spider-Man movies. In other films she's fine, but in the Spider-Man films I think she's awful. That's just my opinion. Christian Slater, he doesn't have a lot to do, but it was cool to see him in there. Antonio Banderas, again, cool to see him in there. Like I said, the second half loses a little bit when Tom Cruise exits the picture because he was the most vibrant character in the movie. Although at least there's Antonio Banderas and a little bit of Brad Pitt kicking some ass, which is nice. But overall, I liked it. I don't know if it's faithful to the novel. Maybe it's not. But as a movie, I thought it worked well for what it's supposed to do. Where it was... I wouldn't say it has gravitas and drama like maybe it was trying to. But I was entertained by the actors. It was a different take on a vampire movie. And overall, I liked the movie. I think it's a pretty decent flick. Again, that's just my opinion. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.